And the pot calls the kettle black, calls the kettle burnt, calls her mad. Kettle reminds the pot that we both been burned on the same stove, that the parts of our bodies that are layered in soot were scorched by the same hands. Kettle tells pot that she still boils water, holds the hot breath of a white man's tongue, endures the slow simmer of a white woman's allyship, and still we make something beautiful. Pot calls the kettle wicked, and kettle says no, but says she's so magical she burned the hand of the last man who tried to pour himself a piece of her. Says she's so black she is everything, so black she is the beginning. She is the first thing someone finds home in when they wake up in the morning. Says ain't that what it means to be black? To have the world go up in flames around you and still be sanctuary for someone, saving men who lost themselves the night before, saving men who curse our names but forget his mama is made of steel too. And now the pot has no words, but calls the kettle bitter, but loves the glass pan, the fine china, loves all the exotic shit white men put behind glass casings, loves how fragile things not made of steel can be. But this isn't about the pot or the pan. This is about the kettle, the black woman, how she pours herself across the earth, but no one bats an eye when the water disappears. We give ourselves to men who never love us, but they say we are difficult, too hard to break. How we, the kettle, praise this pot, this man for all the water he holds. How we are the only ones who do not call him monster when the water boils over, because we know this heat, this white flame, hot enough to make any of us explode. We are the first ones to make noise when the world goes up in flames, but they say the earth was saved by the man who heard her scream. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says yes, but says you best remember you black too. The next time they bring a fire to your neck, they burn black bodies on the stake and the stove. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says bitch I might be, says nuck if you buck, then says wipe me down. Kettle says yes my nigga, I be black, I be mad, and I boiled the last man down to his bones when he tried to test me. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says hell yes, but don't say my name as if you ain't ever been burnt too.
All right, all right, all right. Microphone check 1, 2. You can hear me in the chat. Let me pause it right now. If you can hear me in chat, put a 1 in the chat. We're gonna get this started. We got a little warm up. Before we get to the meat of the matter. And I'd like to welcome everybody to a cool Friday. It's Friday, right? It's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. So that's cool. And yeah, so we're gonna go over some old stuff that we were messing around with and check it out real quick. We're gonna check it out real quick. And I want to make some points about it after it's done. So here we go.
After court, Redden's sister and Redden's foster mother spoke to the media about his battle with mental health illness and how they claim that the system has failed him. Let's watch.
Tell us. Let me pause right there. There's this thing about the system failing, people failing, him, especially black men. The only thing is that I agree, it does fail, but at the same time, it's not failing to the point where you start jumping on judges. It never failed there. There's something else that needed to be done. Let's see what she's gonna say right here. This is Redden's sister. He's Superman, the guy who jumped on the judge a couple months ago. Here we go.
Tell us about your brother and the brother that we haven't seen. Who is he like? What is he like? And how did he get in this situation?
Well, he's basically born with mental illness. He was born with crack cocaine in his system. So his chance in life was taken at birth. Deep inside, he's a good person. He's just not had the opportunity in life to be surrounded by positive people, meaning his own family. I can see that.
That's just telling me. I mean, I understand what she's saying, but basically, Um, I guarantee you there's some point where he refused the help he should have gotten or should have received. Let me kick some shout outs in the house. Mistress Newbie in the house. Bridget's in the house. Mystics in the house. We're all here. Let's get this going. Here we go.
My brother just felt betrayed at the time when he was pleading and saying that he was in a better place, which is different for us.
He's obviously wasn't in a better place. The key is that everybody kind of read, whether it's his fault or not, everybody read through his BS and he proved it. He literally proved it. The goal to people changing people's minds is by being an example of why they should. So playing the victim doesn't often is one issue. And then another issue is when you just do dumb effery like he did and just dive into the judge. That was crazy. There's nothing you can do with that. Well, oh yeah, you're right. You that was a 10, that was a 9.5 dive. So what if you assaulted the judge? I think you made your point that the system fails you and this and that. What is the And that's the kind of the thing is this. The judge just got a little taste of what he had been giving to the women in the community. Half of the charges that he was there for was because of what he did to other women. So what's the point? Let me keep playing.
To be in a better place. I mean, when we struggle from mental illness, it's a chemical imbalance. Just as most addicts have chemical imbalances out there, who wants to stop using, who can't.
RCD in the house.
It's something that we suffer from. I don't think sending him to prison is going to turn anybody who suffers from a mental illness. They need to be surrounded by healthcare professionals who can treat him and so that he gets the right treatment that he needs.
I agree.
He's been in and out of mental health court, so now he's going to go to prison on this thing. But you were saying to me when we were walking down here, you don't think that that's going to help him in any way.
It's not, because the people
To me, it's to the point where he's either has to go to a prison or asylum. Take your pick. I mean, quite honestly, I may be at asylum. I don't know. Anything that's going to fix him, I'm down for. Let's do that. But you can't. He just can't be out. And it sounds like his sister wants him out. Kind of like everybody wants, Nesto out. Some people, they're just too dangerous for our community. I mean, forget about the other communities. They're too dangerous for our community. And you see how our community is.
Isn't are trained to, for prisoners. They're not trained for people who suffers from mental illnesses. So he will not get the proper treatment that he needs.
This case went internationally viral. How has your family been dealing with that?
Well, we've all just been thinking more,
She feels, looks, she's pretty, but don't get me wrong about that, but she looks exhausted. Just like she's at the last nerve
of our rights as individuals, and anybody whose mind is not of a normal person should not be judged in a manner of a person who's normal like you and myself. He tried to speak for himself, which I just think he shouldn't have never been.
Thank you. I agree.
Allowed to take the stand or speak on his own behalf because of his condition.
What was your thought when you saw this video that went viral? I mean, you obviously are talking about your brother here.
Yes, I just think his reactions were not premeditated. It was triggered because he seemed to have been pleading for his freedom.
He doesn't. Unfortunately, he didn't really deserve freedom. He really didn't. I mean, the thing is that maybe he deserves help. He definitely deserves help. But at this point in time, he cannot be. You guys got to understand, and this is going to play into the cult. thing very soon. You got to understand, you can't, just because somebody deserves a certain freedom, but they might deserve it, but did they earn it? I mean, are they beating the brakes off of other people? Those other people deserve freedom as well, and freedom not to have to get the brakes beat off of them. So if he's beating brakes, he's not going to prison for He's not going to prison for nonviolent offenses. He's going to prison for violent offenses and repeated violent offenses, not just one. He's not going to prison over tax fraud or something soft like that. And I mean soft, that I'm not saying it's good, but it's not violence. And so, I mean, so the 5 or 6 people that he gets to, when he gets to get out, let's say his sister gets what she wants, right? And he's let out, and he continues because he never stopped beating the brakes off of everybody. I know it's because that he was, as she stated, he was a crack baby. The thing is that don't those other people have a right to peace and freedom themselves that he's beating the brakes off of? You know? When other women gave him a chance too, and it just didn't turn out. I am 100% behind sending him to a facility that he can't get out of that will treat his problem. But I'm sorry, it's hard, it's terrible that the system did him wrong, but for the most part, he can't be able to do others wrong. That's the problem.
Has been off his psych meds since he got out of jail, but because he doesn't have an appointment until March of this year, so he has not taken anything at all. And I think when the judge says, it's time for you to get a taste of, became a trigger, and in his mind, he felt threatened. We all have the capabilities to do what Deorra did, and that is to leave.
No, that's not true. I mean, technically, anybody has the capability. Actually, believe it or not, I don't know if they have the capability. He flew. I mean, that was out of the. If it wasn't for the vulgar assault of it all, what he did was pretty damn amazing. He got up. I mean, he didn't even touch the bench on the way over. So, but at the same time, to try to make it seem like anybody is capable of that, is not true. Now, a lot of men are, unfortunately. Yeah, Bridget. Yeah, how long are they going to use the crack baby excuse? I mean, he's in his 30s. Maybe at the youngest 20s, but it's not like he's a kid. Here we go.
That high, when our fight or flight mechanism response is triggered when we're threatened, we can jump that high. We can leap that high. So in his mind,
I know. Hey, look, I'm still moderately pretty athletic. I'll tell you, no. That was amazing. That was amazing. It was horrible, but it was amazing how he got over there so quick.
It's realistic that his life was still threatened, and that's what happened.
Do you think that if the judge didn't say that last line, that this would be a different story?
I strongly believe that.
No. You can't give people an excuse to be violent. I mean, think about it. People are violent online and offline. Giving them an excuse to be violent, that causes a certain amount of Neanderthal acceptance. I get mad all the time. Good point, Mistress Newbie. I get mad at people, but I am not triggered or tempted to mollywop them. Thank you. There's a certain level of control you're supposed to have over yourself. And now his sister started off pretty cool, but now I'm starting to, no, this is why he stayed out, because in her mind, she's saying that he should be out mollywopping women more so than being in jail, not mollywopping women. It's not his fault. That's really not cool. Bridget says, if you run out of meds, you can go to the ER, urgent care or ER, and get a new prescription. Thank you. Especially if they know you crazy, they're gonna, here, take 2. Take 2 bottles. And here's some water to wash it down with. You know? Marcy D says, ma'am, he flew over the bench while handcuffed. Are you serious? Bars. Let's keep it going.
That because it was that statement that was the trigger.
Look, the problem is that men in general, you're going to hear statements. And this is so crazy. This is so crazy to me. So she basically is saying that everybody should live on eggshells except for him. And if you got to get mollywopped, his freedom is more important. I like that word. I like that word. You know? Yep. Mr. Snoopy, you nailed that. As soon as he felt the judge wasn't going to drop the charges, he snapped. He was, yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, here we go.
Have you had any communication with him since Wednesday?
No, I haven't.
I have. And actually, once we found out that he didn't appear in court on that day, my mind automatically went to, what did you do to him? Where is he at? When I came, media everywhere, and I go over to the jail, and I'm trying to...
What did you do to him? Where is he at? Hopefully not mollywopping somebody. Damn.
The visits, and there's no visitation for him at this moment. Then why? Where is he? He hasn't called, but apparently Tony Abatangelo, a good attorney that I know, was able to access someone from the inside to actually call. And they called me last night. And I explained to Deoper, like, it's not a circus. What you did, no way do we condone it, but I know your struggles and I know the voices that you hear. And I just felt I tried to soothe them and, say, just come to court and, whatever's handed down, just take it. Like, what else can you really truly do? But I just felt like to even be going back in front of her courtroom, that was totally biased. Like,
wait, what'd she say?
Down, just take it. Like, what else can you really truly do? But I just felt like to even be going back in front of her courtroom, that was totally biased. Like, why? What, you want to send a message or what? At the same time, he's
What? So I guess she's complaining because he was in chains and with the hat on something on. He spit, he beat up a judge, and he almost beat up some other guys too. And she just wants him to be able to walk in there and just like as if nothing happened. Marcy D, now mother, cut that out. Y'all knew he had wings and fangs when he was in middle school. I'm sure there were test flights. Yeah. Oh man, I know. Oh, test flights.
She says he suffers from mental illness. It's always been documented. It's always been stated. Even when I got
It doesn't mean he can beat the brakes off of other people. It just doesn't mean that. I understand. I feel your pain. But it doesn't mean he can beat the brakes off of other people. And you want to know something? There are men in our community that are like similar to him. And it's like people are like, well, the man is keeping you down and you deserve a second chance. And and excuse number 3, 4, 5, but you guys got to understand these same guys are going around here beating the brakes off of women. They're beating the brakes off of women. I mean, come on, there's a point of time where you have to say, I understand the pain the brothers are feeling, but we can't allow them to beat the brakes. We can't allow them to be mollywopped. The women in the community don't deserve that. And if anybody thinks they do, then you need to be mollywopped too. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. I mean, I want him to go to a psych prison too. I want him to go get the help he needs to get. I do. But no, he can't be out. He can't be out. It's crazy. Mr. Snoopy again, this is why women like her are just as dangerous as the men who hurt women. Bars. Super mammy. It's if he would have, deleted some woman, he would have been like, oh well, he's really a good boy. He just snapped. She said the magic word. She said the magic word. New Diamond says these are toxic Black mothers. Yeah. Me, Columbia says when he touched that judge, he really messed up. Absolutely. If you haven't worked in the prison system, you couldn't ever understand what's going to happen to him. Crime should be punished, but torture is justice. Bars.
The foster care.
He is this. Unfortunately, there's not a place to put them. You can't put them back on the street. You can't put him there because he'll do what he did to the judge, which he already did before the judge. As Marcy D said, he's already been on some test flights. So let me keep going. Here we go.
System at the age of 12. It was documented that he was severely emotionally disturbed. By the time he was 18, he left and branched out on his own. But every day, like he said, he's trying to do better. He just got released November of 2023. What?
Wow. So he was literally out just a couple months before he went airborne. It just shows that she's not making a good case for him, because if he can't even hold his temper for 2 months, then yeah, he doesn't need to be out. They released him too early.
6 weeks ago, something like that. He just got out got an apartment, did everything right, was in contact with parole and probation.
How did he do anything right? He couldn't have done everything right if he got back in. He did something wrong.
Released to them in their custody. So now you said you're finna send him back? What sense in his mind he didn't
Wait
think
a
he was
minute.
going back?
Wait a minute.
Since in his mind he didn't think he was going back. He was ready to go to work the following.
He just beat the brakes off of somebody with a bat. What are they supposed to do?
He, as we sat in the courtroom, he got a dispatch from the Teamsters. You know, he was just in a better place.
Multiply Deborah Redden by 10, and multiply women like this his sister or mother or something by 10. Man, no wonder the community's like it is. Deborah Reddens are all over the place. Man.
And like you say, I just feel he was tricked.
Do you think that this will
Deborah Reddens, the Knockout Kings, et cetera, et cetera. Really, Redden's lucky that they didn't pop, they didn't go pop. They could have.
essentially him being sentenced will undo all the work that he's done to repair his mental state?
No.
I don't know. He didn't repair anything. If he's jumping after judges, I'm sorry. The logic part of his system was not working.
Definitely not. It's only going to put him in a worse state of mind because the system has failed him, and that's how he feels.
He failed it.
That's how
Wait. He
feels.
failed the system too. I'm sorry. Whether it was his fault or not, he failed the system. I'm sure he could have dug down deep. He could have dug down deep and held his temper. Nope, but he launched. Let's see what's going on with Monique's brother. Here we go.
For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. The drama between Monique and her estranged son, Shalon Jackson, shows no sign of slowing down.
I thought he said he was going to stop. This is Comedy Hype, by the way. But the Court TV was the prior. And yeah, let's see what's going on with him.
After Jackson just did an interview with Atlanta blogger Kev the Comic. During the interview, the two would talk about Shalon's relationship with his mother and the public back and forth the two engaged in less than a month ago, which started after Shalon called out Monique after her viral interview with Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay. There, he accused his mother of presenting a false narrative of wanting to fix their relationship. Shalon would reveal that Monique actually has no interest in mending their relationship. Of course, this would lead to Monique and her husband Sydney jumping in to defend themselves. They did this by leaking several text messages from Shalon on Monique's own Instagram. However, this did little to change the public perception, as many felt the messages did nothing to discredit what her son wants, which was a relationship with his mother. During the conversation, Shalon would tell
that I don't know. To me, it's like this. Okay, so you're going to go on social media and badmouth your mom to try to strengthen a relationship with your mother. I mean, that speaks for itself right there. I don't need to say anything else. That's just not how it works. If you want a relationship with your mother, you work it out with your mother privately. Nope. Can't go for it. I can't go for that. That's where he lost me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving Monique any stars whatsoever. But if you really wanted to work things out and you really wanted your mother's attention more, this was a bad way of doing it. Especially if she's supplying money to you, because now you're messing with her money. You're going to put her in a position where she can't help you.
Listeners and interviewer Kev the Comic that Monique's joke about him that starts off with meeting people in the airport are fabricated. In addition to that, he would condemn his mother for calling him out of his name while saying the jokes weren't funny.
I knew that material was going to happen, but the material wasn't funny. You keep trying to make it about me. You told the world that I was a nigga.
Shalon will also state that he's a present father in his daughter's life, which is why Monique calling him the N-word cut so deep. Aside from the swearing throughout, Shalon would touch on how disturbed he was by Monique and Sydney's use of the words.
Let me go ahead. Let's see if my let me check and see if my video is gonna work. Dang, it's dark in there. Well, so what? I mean, these are two people definitely behaving badly. I know that. Well, three, since you got to add in Sydney or whatever the hell his name is. But it's not going to fix anything. If you really wanted to fix something, he wouldn't be online doing it. When I want to fix something with a family member, I don't go online to do it. Good, whether it's for good or bad, I don't care. Here we go.
Mentally ill and similar labels. He would go on to shame his mother for sharing the private text messages between himself, Monique, and Sydney.
Wait a minute. So he goes online first in my opinion, probably to embarrass his mom. Now, ignore that his mom is a Monique. It doesn't matter. But a man went online to embarrass his mom. And then he expects his mom to do nothing. I mean, I'm not sure what did he think was going to happen? His job isn't social media. That's her job via comedy. Social media to promote you so you stay in the mix, and then the comedy shows. And I will tell you this, again, as a DJ who DJ'd a lot of comedy shows, half their material, these comedians' materials, were friends and family at least. And the majority of that, they were either making fun of themselves or they were making fun of their friends in the joke or families in the joke. He's born to a mother that could at least financially, maybe not physically or emotionally take care of him quite well. But I mean, but the way she did it, you can't have thin skin. I feel for him. She was in the wrong for not being there all the time, though. If what he says is true, because I have seen young men that their mother did everything for them, where they would literally drive 10 miles to pick up their son and take their son down the street, drop them off to their friend's house, and then go 10 miles back. And he treated his mother like shit. I think he's just using, quite honestly, I think he's just using this whole thing as an excuse just to be, for attention. Because he's still doing shows. I thought he was going to stop. He said he was going to stop. He didn't stop.
And just like when the text messages were released, it appears that many still take the side of her son. Under the comments of Hollywood Unlocked's Instagram page, comedian LeVar Walker would add his opinion. A mother that sacrifices a child who she claims has mental illness in front of millions of people for their acceptance and good grace is sick.
It's strange for me to hear that from another comedian, because I've seen them make fun of their own family members that had like cerebral palsy and shit. I forgot who it was. I got to look it up, but that was just one of their skits. I forgot who it was, but I'll find it and I'll play it. Here we go.
I don't care what y'all say. If you disagree, you are just clout sharing and siding with the person for their fame and influence.
Well, that's what he's doing with his mom, which he should be able to do, actually. The only problem is, like, just don't paint it like you're trying to get back with your mom, because you know that's not going to work. Anyway, let me keep this going. Here we go. Oh, man.
A Horn Lake woman and her son are among at least 6 people missing after joining an online cult. As WREG's Mike Suriani reports, Horn Lake police say the mother and son were reported missing in early July.
This is the funny thing about cults. They have that mystique or advertisement of being they're supposed to lift your life up. They're supposed to let your mind free. You're supposed to make you better people, not make you go missing.
I just want to know if she's okay, if the baby is okay, if they need anything.
Shalita Gibson is frantic, in tears, anxious to know the whereabouts of her 27-year-old daughter, Garielle German, and Garielle's 3-year-old son, Ashton Mitchell.
Are they cold? Are they hungry? Is she dead? Is she alive? That's all I need to know. Her choices are her choices, and I can't do anything about her choices.
According to Gibson, her daughter chose to leave Horn Lake, Mississippi with Ashton in July of 2023 and travel with a friend to Berkeley, Missouri.
She kept saying like she was getting ready to go because she was gonna go on this spiritual journey and all of these things, and she was kind of acting a little weird.
Gibson believes that spiritual journey has some connection to Rashad Jamal, a self-proclaimed New Age influencer and prophet with an online cult following on several social media platforms. Police in Berkeley are now investigating the disappearance of 6 people, including the pair from Horn Lake, who may have joined Jamal's online cult and at one time lived in a house in Berkeley.
Neighbors reported seeing these people outside daily worshiping the sun. If it was raining, they would come outside naked and run around the yard.
Gibson says the picture offers no answers and little hope.
That's the house that she was dropped off at for sure. But the people in the picture and the little child that's in the picture, that's not her.
Gibson hasn't spoken to her daughter since July.
All of this is just out of her character. I don't have no answers. It's not her.
Mike Suriani, WREG News Channel 3.
If you scared to die for what you believe in, that's okay.
You want to get led by a man like this? My God.
But I'm not. So get out of my way.
6 people missing for months after following this alleged cult leader and self-proclaimed prophet.
I think Rashad fits the usual profile, very narcissistic, very self-obsessed, grandiose claims. He has 90,000 followers, by the way, on Instagram.
We're taking a closer look into the history of alleged cult leader Rashad Jamal White and his group.
Oh, here's the thing. One of the few things about cults they usually said is that money means nothing. That was a big red flag even for, and cults are still bad, but that's a red flag right there that he's flashing money in the first place. It just tells you that he's just a philanderer trying to manipulate people for, I don't know what, usually the same thing that most dudes try to get. Me Columbia says this: if you join a cult, you can't know anything about American history.
The University of Cosmic Intelligence.
Grand Rising Cosmic Family. First, let me start by
Bars.
saying peace to the gods and goddesses of planet Kai. Peace meaning positive energy. Always.
He's fake. He doesn't even believe what he's saying. He's just spitting it out because, he has to play the game so he can get what he wants.
Creates elevation.
August 13th, 2023 was the last time anyone saw 25-year-old Michaela Thompson, 27-year-old Jarrell German, and 36-year-old Michaela Wickerson. This is the last known image of the trio in a St. Louis grocery store. Along with them, 30-year-old Naman Williams, 3-year-old Malaya Wickerson, and 2-year-old Ashton Mitchell all vanished. Their disappearance is now being investigated by a local police department. Friends and family of the missing say they cut off.
First thing manipulators do is cut you off from your friends and other people. So that's already a bad start.
Contact with them, some even quitting their jobs or maxing out credit cards.
Yep, there it goes. Scumbag scammer. Asking and taking people's lives away. One way or another, either analytical or, as an analogy or directly in many ways. Phoenix Soul's in the house. Me Columbia's in the house. Darnell Elliott is in the house. New Diamond is in the house. Bridget's in the house. Mistress Newbie in the house. Mystic Moon. Marcy D. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it rolling. Here we go.
He spoke to cult expert and author of Cults Inside Out, Rick Ross. He says that process likely started slowly before any extreme measures were finally taken.
Well, people gradually unplug. It's a process of increments. step by step, bit by bit. People like Rashad encourage them to do this. And that is one of the early warning signs that something is really wrong, is that you have a loved one who's becoming increasingly socially isolated and they're obsessed with a particular leader, and you realize that their entire network of friends is now within this group. But it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly but surely. And in this sense, people don't really realize how far they've gone with these groups because it is a step-by-step increment process.
Well,
Me Columbia says he sounds like a TV pimp. You nailed it. That's all he is. We could call this Tales from the Pimps and be perfectly accurate.
what we now see as out of the ordinary, cult members may begin to find as reasonable.
I think normal becomes whatever it is within the kind of network or bubble that you exist in online. So what we're seeing is people embedding in kind of networks online where they're only communicating with other like-minded people and constantly being reinforced in whatever their new normal is.
New Diamond says, DJ speaks the truth. Black people hate the truth. So, so the road to truth is narrow. Yeah, not many on it. Yeah, and that's our problem. I think. Well, I remember when the words "keeping it real" came out. I don't know what happened. Oh, but we definitely didn't do that. Here we go.
It's dictated by the leader. So we think it's crazy, but then we're dealing with the world at large. These people are often cut off, as we hear, from their family, from their old friends, and they're embedded in this alternate reality, this other world online in which they are following people that are like-minded, conversing with people online, and following, streaming and YouTube videos. It can become, completely encapsulating, where people really have no other access to the real world.
Ross says things start out innocently enough, oftentimes when people are down on their luck.
Well, I think the narrative is usually people are going through a difficult time in their life, and that happens to all of us. We go through bad patches, and they have the bad luck to be approached by someone who introduces them to some group or weekend seminar program or something that seems rather innocent, but in fact is a cult. And the person who's talking to you about this group or activity could be a coworker, a friend, someone you know, someone you trust.
As Ross explains, there are several things that determine whether a group is actually a cult.
Well, we look for three things to form the core, the nucleus of what a destructive cult would be. Number one, is the leader the defining element and driving force of the group? And is the leader a dictator with no meaningful accountability? And has he or she become an object of worship? Second, does the leader manipulate people in identifiable ways that line up with coercive persuasion? In other words, is he gaslighting people? Is he
Exactly. Just like a lot of people I know online. Here we go.
manipulating them, isolating them from family and friends to control what they hear, what they see, to gain undue influence? And finally, three, having gained undue influence, does the leader use it to take advantage of his or her followers, exploit them, and do harm to them?
In this case, Ross believes the University of Cosmic Intelligence is in fact a cult, and that Rashad Jamal is its leader. The leader of this alleged cult or group, his name is Rashad White. He goes by Rashad Jamal. And according to his Instagram, he's a self-proclaimed prophet. He calls himself a revolutionary, and he calls himself also a luminous being. Is it possible that he believes in all of this?
In my experience, most of the cult leaders that I deal with are grifters, con men. They don't really believe their own hype.
Yep, that is so true.
If they do cross that line, it becomes dangerous because then they are delusional and may, harm the people that are following them by acting basically insane, unplugging from reality, taking all of their followers over the edge with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jamal Rashad fits the usual profile, very narcissistic, very self-obsessed, grandiose claims. He has 90,000 followers, by the way, on Instagram. And of course, he has a YouTube following and so forth. This is the wave of the future. Groups called cults are recruiting online, and anybody could be targeted.
Peace to the gods and goddesses of Planet Kai. This has been brought to you by the ancestors first, then the University of Cosmic Intelligence, Will Over Rich. Now we rise. I leave as I come. One, I say.
And that's the problem with a lot of young men in our community is that they work harder to manipulate people than they do to in a job. I'm serious. Or to start their own business. They work harder manipulating people than they do working. Let that sink in.
Rashad Jamal boasts thousands of followers on Instagram and TikTok, where he speaks the word of his group. That includes promoting polygamy, living off the grid, and anti-government beliefs that sound a lot like conspiracy theories.
Really, quite honestly, he's just, another nature boy. A little less smooth. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he needs to figure out and tell us where those other 6 people are. I know that.
Cartisha Morgan is pleading for someone to come forward with information about her daughter, Michaela Wickerson. Berkeley police say Wickerson is one of 6 people who were influenced by a cult leader and disappeared from North St. Louis County in August of 2023. Berkeley police believe they are following the teachings of a man named Rashad Jamal. Among other things, they say he taught totally disconnecting from family, practicing polygamy, and meditating nude. Carrie Roberts is a neighbor and witnessed that nude meditation. She told me she knew Michaela Wickerson.
From beginning.
Wait a minute, the big dude ain't nude. What's up with that? I don't even know if these women, well, let's keep it going.
Till then, it was totally different. She cut all her hair off, she started growing dreads, and her baby used to come play in the yard with my nephew, and all of a sudden she stopped letting the baby come over here.
Meanwhile, Morgan is pleading that her daughter and the others just let family know they're okay.
I know that people have many different opinions of this, but if it was their family member, everybody wants to know that their family member is well. If she chooses to still stay out, I just would like to know that.
Cults are technically supposed to make people better, but scaring your family and making them fear for their concern for you, that doesn't make you any better.
Her and my granddaughter are safe. That's all. If she can just contact us and let us know.
It was a perplexing case for the authorities. 6 people, including young children, had vanished without a trace from their home in St. Louis. The police suspected it to be linked to a cult. The group had been living in a rental near the airport, led by Rashad Jamal, who was currently serving time for child molestation charges.
You got to be freaking kidding me. You got to be freaking kidding me. Let me listen to that again. Maybe I heard it wrong.
It was a perplexing case for the authorities. 6 people, including young children, had vanished without a trace from their home in St. Louis. The police suspected it to be linked to a cult. The group had been living in a rental near the airport, led by Rashad Jamal, who was currently serving time for child molestation charges.
Did the system fail him too? Well,
Despite being behind bars, Jamal had amassed a large following on social media with his purported spiritual teachings.
what is it about these people following dudes in jail? There's Ernesto, there's Nature Boy, there's Jamal, there's R. Kelly. It's probably going to be Diddy soon. What is it? I mean, come on now. It's not about, oh yeah, you're bashing black men. It's like, no, let's just be led by men that aren't in jail and aren't hiding from jail or on the run from jail. You know?
His organization, known as the University of Cosmic Intelligence, claimed to enlighten and illuminate the minds of Black and Latino individuals. According to authorities, some of Jamal's followers had even changed their names to honor supposed spiritual deities. It was reported that 3 of the missing adults had also adopted these new names. As investigators delved deeper into the case, disturbing
of his own child. That's wow. I mean, so yeah, we're supposed to let these guys. We're supposed to let these guys just go ahead and roam around the neighborhood, the community. Let's keep it going.
patterns emerged among Jamal's devotees. Cutting ties with loved ones, disconnecting from society, quitting jobs, and declaring themselves sovereign citizens. This was no ordinary disappearance. It was a chilling example of the power and danger of charismatic leaders like Jamal.
Exactly.
And as detectives continued their search for answers, one mother's call would lead them down a path they never could have imagined.
Bars, Me Columbia says the system failed society. Bars.
Cartisha Morgan contacted the police after her daughter went missing with Jamal's group. Detectives searched their rented home in Berkeley and hotel room in Florissant, but found no evidence of foul play. The group, once boasting over 90,000 followers on social media, had seemingly disappeared without a trace. It is believed that they may have run out of money and will resurface eventually.
Damn. Well, if you run out of money, you're still around. You're still around, right? Mr. Snoopy breaks it down like this. Society has failed the majority of us, but some of us choose to take the lemons and learn to be better humans than what society has presented to us. Bars.
But for loved ones like Morgan, waiting for answers is agonizing, especially when her own daughter and granddaughter are among the missing. Morgan believes her daughter was targeted while struggling with postpartum depression, and she urges others to be cautious of online predators. As the investigation continues,
That's
all
exactly what they are too, online predators.
we can do is hold on to hope and trust that justice will be served. The missing group, believed to be facing financial troubles, is composed of 4 women. Wickerson, a former employee at JP Morgan and Chase. Thompson, a mother who left her child with her own mother. Williams from Washington, D.C. And German, originally from Lake Horn, Mississippi. Despite her
Young ladies are gorgeous. I don't know what's going on.
worries for her family, Morgan remains strong in her faith. She reveals that Wickerson had been battling depression after giving birth and may have been manipulated. But lead detective Runga remains determined to find the missing party, stating that it's just a matter of putting in the necessary work. As for their whereabouts, it is expected that they will resurface once their funds run out.
Well, the key is to make sure they resurface alive. That's the key.
In the meantime, Morgan urges people to spread awareness about their situation.
If you scared to die for what you believe in, that's okay, but I'm not. So get out my way.
6 people missing for months after following this alleged cult leader
Let's go
and
back.
self-proclaimed
Let's
prophet
see what's up here.
Ashton Mitchell. All
Group. But it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly
We seen
for
that.
3 things.
I think this is pretty much almost similar, the same thing. All right. Let me drop the chat just for a second. I mean, the link. What am I? Drop the chat. Drop the link for a second. Hold on. I mean, that's just sad. I can't think. Can anybody think of a cult that actually turned out well that really helped somebody? Me Columbia says this. There's is almost 100% chance that these people will do it all over again when on meds. What's the point of letting them out or paying to keep them alive? True. It's a shame. No, but I'll tell you this though. I've seen people turn their lives around after they get out of cults. So I can't say that it's fruitless to try to get out. You know. So yeah, pretty much the rest of this is actually just the same shit we already saw. Any questions in the chat? Go for it. Let's see what else I got here. Welcome to the stage, Darnell.
Hey, how you doing, DJ Torch?
Doing good, doing good.
Great episode. Answer to your question, about a cult that did some good. Keep in mind, it didn't. They really weren't doing good, but it did do some good. Was a matter of fact, this one was more local tour when you to you in Oakland. It was Jim Jones cult. In the beginning, he was the first. He was the first church that I know of that united black people and white people.
Right, but they ended up dead, didn't they?
They sure did.
Well, like we can't use them as a positive just because it might have been in the middle. It was cool. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I was just saying that, like, a lot of times, because like these places that you can't tell that they're bad from the jump street. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times they do certain things that they're like wolves in sheep's clothing. You don't know they're a wolf.
Right, but the theory is that try your best to name a cult that somebody was in, or they came out to be a better person.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen. Like I said, a lot of times, in order for them to sell their product, they have to offer something. That's the only point I'm trying to say. They have to
Right.
offer something.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, they can't just be this outlandish thing and people just magically join them.
Yeah. Basically, the thing is I can't think of any reason anybody should be in a cult because whether it was cool for a minute or not, it always ends up being Jim Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jim Jones, David Koresh, Charles Manson.
Something all bad,
But a lot of things that these people all had in common, like I said, these people or the people that joined their cult, they were all missing something. Like a lot of Manson followers, for example, they were children that felt neglected or left behind. Probably had were abuse in the family. Charles Manson was real good at manipulating, especially women that were abused. He was really good with women that were abused. As far as Jim Jones, like I said, Jim Jones was the first to unite. I mean, he was the first cult leader that I know of. He had a church in Oakland and he united white people and black people during the 60s. You know, when we had time of racial divide and division, he was the first person to accept. He was the first white preacher to accept black people in his, in his congregation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he sold a dream, he sold hope. He sold something. He's like, hey, everything is great over here. You know, as far as his church went, like I said, he did do things for the community. You know, which is how he was able to grow his membership. You know, unfortunately, like I said, we all know he was a madman.
Right.
David Koresh, that one, that one, he, I used to, being in the church myself, there used to be a saying that the devil be in church right there with you. In fact, the devil knows the Bible better than you do. And David Koresh is living proof of that. You know, David Koresh would speak the Bible. I mean, he knew the Bible backwards and forwards and things of that nature. At first, he didn't start out, the way he was. He's very charismatic. People listened to him, and next thing you know, he was able to, take over. He took over the church. He was able to get the, he was able to get women to, at his will. Even men would give him their wives and daughters, and it was horrible. But the thing is with cults, they offer something, and that's the scary part. Now that you got social media, it's even worse. I mean, you remember I called Fresh and Fit a cult. Just a couple days ago on one of your lives, I called them a cult.
So what do you think we should do with cult leaders?
That's the hard part, DJ Torch. The one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to turn them into martyrs. That's the thing. I mean, case in point, you look at what's going on with Andrew Tate.
Right.
Andrew Tate has a cult following. There are people that think, I mean, this man, I hate to say it, because again, I like Andrew Tate, or I did, but, and I hate to say it, but the thing is, I mean, the man admitted to human trafficking.
Hmm.
When you look at his Hustler or Player University or Hustler University, he admitted to, tricking women using the lover boy method, tricking women to do, sexual things on the internet for him, promising them pay of 50%, and in reality, he's paying them 20%. He admits to lying. He even tells you to do it.
Yeah.
He even told you to do it. Hey, just tell her you're paying the taxes. You're paying the taxes. Create a fake tax return.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't gonna know the difference. And like, if you notice, the Romanian government, the reason they're being very careful with Andrew Tate and making sure the ducks are lined up in a row. They don't want to turn him into a martyr. I mean, when he got arrested the first time, do you know that there was protests even here in the States?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was protests. I believe one was down in Miami. There was protests in the States for his release. Like nobody. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. I do believe Romanian law is different than American law. So, I mean, his incarceration under American law, in my opinion, was excessive. But again, Romanian law and American law are two different things. Like here in the United States, you have the right to a speedy trial. They can't arrest you, hold you for 6 months without trying you. But I guess it can do that in Romania. So I was against that, but the thing is that nobody's looking at the evidence. I mean, nobody's looking at the evidence of what he said, what he did. and they're just jumping to people, just jump to conclusions, and it's just one of those things that, like I said, if you go after these leaders, you will turn them into martyrs, and that's the most dangerous thing.
Because then there'll just be more people doing it. Yeah.
You'll just grow their numbers. They're persecuted.
Let's check this out right here. Check this one out.
Sergeant Cobb County, convicted killer and ex-cult leader Anna Young has died. The Marietta woman led the House of Prayer cult in Florida. A judge sentenced her to 30 years in prison for the deaths of 2 toddlers in the 1980s. Young had been in prison just 42 days before her death. Joy Fluker, Young's daughter, says Young was in the ICU on oxygen Monday night. This is what Fluker had to say about her experience when we spoke with her earlier this year.
Those are things I can't live with, because I feel like if I live with those, then I'm just as guilty. This is what I'm ashamed of. This is my life sentence.
Former members of the cult say Young, known as Mother Anna, would torture and abuse members for their sins by various means.
Damn.
Yeah.
Cults aren't good.
No, they're not. Church I went to in Alabama, I considered that one though kind of cultish. Basically a cult. I just remember, I just remember that, we were a church full of 4 people, like my family, and we had another family, the Adams family. We were the largest 2 families in the church. And if we missed church, I mean, that church was empty.
Oh man. Let's check this out. I got another one for you.
Jonestown. When I got there,
let me go back.
I was born into People's Temple in 1960. Our family was very close to the Jones family. I lived in their home. Once we got our church in San Francisco and his power grew, that power started to create a different person. He had a lot of legal problems. He had to get out of the U.S. fast. That's what started the mass exodus to Jonestown. When I got there, it was amazing. It was like the jungle. Jim Jones became a prisoner of Jonestown. He clearly did not want to be there. He was heavily on drugs, very paranoid, schizophrenic. He told myself and a couple of his
Sounds like a great leader to me.
Other sons that we would be his 24-hour personal guard. He carried weapons. When Leo Ryan and his group showed up, I was actually in the Capitol in Georgetown. When he asked us to come back, we told him no. That's why I said that's my largest regret in life. I know the men that shot Congressman Ryan and Jackie Spear. They were members. I cannot tell you for sure where the cyanide came from, how it got there. I certainly didn't think it was to kill people. The first thing he did was when they came back from the airstrip, he told the members, we're all in trouble. It's over. We have no hope. We've just murdered a congressman.
They invaded our privacy. They came into our homes. The congressman's dead.
U.S. government's going to come here.
Damn, that's crazy, isn't it? I think it's still mind blowing how this cult is and how people can. All you need to do is listen to this old school cult, and you say, "Okay, I'm done with cults." I don't get people. What do you think?
Yeah. But did you catch, what had happened? That basically, he had some legal trouble. The guy said he had legal trouble in the States, and that's why he fled to Ghana. That's what happens when you go after them too soon. We're being persecuted, and you just give them more power. I mean, this guy convinced hundreds, maybe a couple thousand people to, give up their worldly possessions and move to Ghana. And that's why I said what I said about you got to be careful when you go after these guys, because you turn them. Basically, he became a martyr.
Yeah, that's crazy. Shout out to Natural Born Woman in the house. Let's keep it going. Here we go.
They're going to arrest us, or they're going to kill us. They're going to separate you from your babies.
We must die with some dignity.
So he puts that thought in everybody's head. He gets his assistants mixing this vat of poison together, cyanide or whatnot.
Where's the vat? The vat. Where's the vat with the green seed?
First thing he does is gives it to some children.
Free at last. Children, it will not hurt if you'll be quiet. If you'll be quiet.
So many members were not going to walk out at that point. That's what people were weighing on their mind, and Jim Jones knew that.
I tell you, I don't care how many screams you hear. I don't care how many anguished cries. Death is a million times preferable to 10 more days of this life.
I lost 11 immediate family members and so many close friends.
We've lived as no other people have lived and loved. We've had as much of this world as you're going to get. Let's just be done with it. Let's be done with the agony of it.
That's, oh, man. Talk about the tales from the cult.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, like I said, it's
man. We don't have a whole lot in here right now, but I'll tell you, a lot of people are going to watch this shit.
Yeah.
'Cause this is some crazy, eye-opening shit. This is crazy. This is like, there's no reason to be in a cult, and that's why this video is being made. There's just none. With this kind of results, and all that screaming, wow, that was just horrible. For F this, I'm out.
It's a very sad thing, and I say my biggest regret in life to this day was not going back when Jim Jones asked. We would not have allowed it to happen.
Well, John, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What was it like? What was your experience being in Jones' inner circle the way you were?
Dr. Phil, let me stop it right there before he bumps me. That is crazy. Let me go back. Saddest thing you could ever see. Wow. Let me drop the link one more time. So you think that the football is a cult? Or hip hop is a cult? What do you think? Football or hip hop?
No. I mean, like, anything has the potential to become a cult, but something on its own, like he did Jim Jones, for example. Religion. We all know, religion in itself is not bad. It's
right.
It's the fact that it can be used it can be weaponized.
Right.
When it's weaponized, that's when it becomes a cult.
Got it. And when you say weaponized, what do you mean?
Weaponized, like to lure people. Whether you use, in Andrew Tate's case, for example, the Loverboy method. To produce weapons to, into becoming webcam girls for you. You got preachers that, majority of them, they're just trying to get their bills paid, but, they weaponize religion. You're not giving enough in the eyes of God. You're not giving enough money. Making you give more, you can't even afford it. I mean, what was his name? John last week night with John Oliver, he actually did a story on that where a woman lost her mother. Her mother had cancer, and the church, you don't need, just give your money to God. You don't need to take the cancer medication. Just give your money to God. God will heal it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, her mother died. Her mother believed that, and she died. Kept the journal.
Damn. My condolences to that. You've had a very, very different life, Darnell, I will say that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that story, like I said, that story didn't happen to me. That was just a story that John Oliver reported. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that person. The only reason we know about her story was her keeping the journal. If she had not kept the journal, nobody would have known it. But
Right. I hear that. Well, anyway, folks, I know it's Friday night. Everybody's getting ready to go out. I'm gonna let's cut this off. We got a big show tomorrow. Dusty's by the dozen. Variety shows tomorrow night. Then on Sunday, I thought, what do we have lined up for Sunday? Hold on one second. What do we got for Sunday? Oh, it's either going to be To Catch a Dusty or what was the other one? Oh, March Madmen. Volmo. So March Madmen or To Catch a Dusty on Sunday. That's going to be some good shows, my man.
okay,
Anyway,
I'll
let me
definitely
go ahead. What?
I'll definitely make sure I catch him. You said those are your next two topics.
That's it. We done for the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, short and sweet. So I'll see everybody tomorrow right here. The Torch and Friends. Here we go.
In this moment, yes, I cannot say what's wrong or right. It's not hard to fool me, 'cause I'm addicted to the good life. Yeah, lead the way, I follow, no need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all, to the edge of it all. So tell your good life.
New Diamond.
There's a final better one.
Natural born woman.
Susceptible now.
It's Nick Moon.
Before the moment flies.
Mr. Scooby.
So tell your good life.
New Columbia.
There's a final better one. Susceptible.
Bridget Mouton. RCD.
Before the moment flies.
All right, everybody.